Hey there, boils and ghouls. It's your friend Tats, and I'm back with another 4K Blu-ray review. And this one here, I am extremely late to the party on this one, and I do apologize. But this was one I wanted to talk about anyway because, this is an Italian film. You already know what it is by the title. But also, too, I just wanted to kind of give a couple of thoughts. Yeah, I want to review the 4K itself, but also, too, I wanted to just kind of give a couple of thoughts about uh, you know, Italian horror films and growing up in the VHS era and stuff like this. So I just wanted to talk about that for a minute as well. But the movie that I finally got around to getting, and honestly, like I said, I know I am super late to the party on this, and I ended up only getting the standard edition. But I can't complain on this one because with store credit, I got it for free, and that is Lucio Fulci's City of the Living Dead. I said I got the standard edition. My buddy Rob from VHS 82 apostrophe, he got the beautiful, full box set and everything with the soundtrack and everything else. And I screwed up. I should have jumped on that when I had the chance. And I have nobody but myself to blame for that. And beautiful set, came with a beautiful slipcase. Came with the CD soundtrack. I think there was some stickers I think that came with it as well, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he got the fully loaded edition, and this here I got basically the standard. But if you remember at the time, if you remember, if you've been following my channel for a while, ways back, I did a video where I did a Blu-ray review for the Severin box set of the nunsploitation movies that they put out on Blu-ray, and I guess apparently I needed to, no disrespect to women intended or anything like that, but I guess I just needed to see, beautiful, gorgeous, naked women more than I needed to see this. I don't know. It's like, uh, anyway, so but now I finally got it, and like I said, I can't complain, even though it is the standard edition. Hell, I got it for free, so what can I say? I can't complain about that. And so here we go. This is from Cauldron Entertainment. And if this does teach me a lesson, is to keep an eye out on Cauldron and look in the future, like see what they put out, and if they put out any nice additions and stuff like that, try to jump on them first chance you get. So learn from your mistakes, kids. So anyway, so here we go. I got this, and there's the back. It is a 3-disc set, 2 Blu-rays and a 4K. Whoa. 4K is trying to escape here. Hang on. And also, too, real quick, let me show you. You got reversible cover art. If I can hold it. See, I will say, okay, the 4K transfer is beautifully done, and I think that I really do appreciate the high dynamic range used on the film. I think they achieved a beautiful level of grain. It's not too grainy, not too polished. I think the movie just has that right amount. And I will say though, this scene here, which if you know the scene that I'm talking about, but in case if you don't, the girl in the scene, she's making out with her boyfriend, who actually ended up is Mikhail Sawabi, who ended up becoming a filmmaker in his own right. Did movies like Cemetery Man, which I heard that's getting a Blu-ray. Can't wait for that one. Did movies like The Church and The Sect and things like this. So up and coming director. But anyway, so she gets possessed or cursed, whichever word you want to use. But she starts, basically puking up her guts. And that is one thing you can definitely tell, like it's a fake head, a fake mouth, and they're just like pushing this stuff through. Obviously, you can't use the real actress for that. But now, that being said, okay, in the 4K, like here's the scene here where the character Bob, I don't know if you can see that, the character Bob, played by Giovanni Lombardo Radici, the late great Giovanni Lombardo Radici, gets a drill through his head. And honestly, I've said it before, like 4K can make or break practical effects, and like I said, with the previous scene about the girl picking up her guts, you could clearly tell you could clearly tell it's a fake head and all that kind of stuff. That scene there, though, it still looks amazing. It looks impressive what they did with it, So even the 4K, it's like, yeah, it just blows you away with how good it looks. And overall, just I admit, at first I was a little taken aback when I started watching the 4K. I was like, wasn't exactly expecting it to look this dark. But then again, it's like as I started watching, it's like, you know what, this works, especially with the tone and the atmosphere of the film, and kind of the look that Fulci I think was going for, and it does. It gives it a um, very dark, unsettling look to it. So I think that the high dynamic range and the lowering of the brighter colors, upping the darker colors, it definitely works for this movie. And and one thing I think is amazing too is like okay, with sound, you got English, Italian 2.0 mono, and that's another thing too. I'll get to is I think that that's amazing. You could watch it with the English dub, or you could watch it with the Italian track with subtitles. Your choice. You got English subtitles, DTS HD, Master Audio, Dolby Vision, all that good stuff, and everything else. Bonus features, disc 1 and 2, new commentary by Sam Deegan, sorry. Commentary by Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. Archival commentary by Catriona McCall, who Catriona McCall looks gorgeous in 4K. Can't even tell you. Archival commentary by Giovanni Lombardo Radici. And then disc 3 has interview with Massimo Antonello Gileng. I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. I probably am. Interview with Giovanni Lombardo Radici on stage. Q&A with Valentino Venentini and Ruggiero Diodato. Catriona McCall Q&A. Fabio Frizzi Q&A. Interview with Gino De Rossi. Interview with Carlo Di Mijo. A trip through Bonaventure Cemetery, trailers, image gallery, plus more archival extras and other surprises. So yeah, this is a really nice packed edition, and it's very much, for the longest time, I had the Blue Underground Blu-ray, which had very little in terms of bonus features. And now, I mentioned my buddy Rob earlier in the video, and here's the thing. If you love Italian cinema, like Rob is the guy you want to, go watch his videos, go subscribe to his channel. I mean, he's very much into Italian horror, Italian film in general, and he does reviews of Italian films and everything, and he does his research. I'm not kidding. He reads books and he does his research, and he deep dives into these movies as much as he possibly can to try to give you all the best information on these that he can give you. And yeah, so I'll leave a link to his channel in the comment section. Yeah, in the description section below. But yeah, if you're very much into Italian horror and stuff like that, give his channel a sub, and oh yeah, go check out all his videos. Like he's always talking. When we do body bag reviews, I maybe have done a handful of Italian horror movie reviews, but he's done the majority of it. He's kind of like our Italian horror guru. So so yeah, so we usually just let him do all that stuff. But anyway, so yeah, so I already showed you that. Let me show you real quick the disc. Unfortunately, not much imagination going into the disc art. Okay, that disc 1 is the Blu-ray for the movie. Then disc 2 is the extras disc, as you can see there. And then disc 3 is the 4K. This way it came. Sorry about the light and the reflection. Okay, you got this here, little slip, showing you some of the other things that Cauldron has available. And then on the other side, you got this here. So that's pretty cool, I think. Yeah. So anyway, so there you go. But overall, I am so happy to finally get this in my 4K collection. I'm happy to own it, and it is a really nice upgrade. And now I just that's the thing. I'm gonna try not to be too long-winded here, but now I kind of want to talk about. First of all, is this worth it? If you're a fan of the film, it's definitely worth it. Even just for the extra bonus features alone make it worth it. But yes, this is very much worth it. If you can get it for store credit like I did, I definitely recommend it. And but just now it's like what I was saying. I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit about like I'm gonna level with you guys. I'm gonna level with all of you. Just when I was a kid, I did not have the love and appreciation for Italian horror films that I do now, and and it's like this here is like Thinking about, I was a kid. I grew up during the VHS era and stuff. Obviously the gray hairs and stuff, but I did grow up through the VHS era, and I do remember, and I do miss the ritual, the routine of going to a video store with your family, looking for movies, renting, coming back, watching movies together and stuff. I do miss that ritual. Yes. As far as the VHS format goes, not so much. And I'm not trying to, please don't take this as I'm trying to attack VHS enthusiasts. I am not. Just, when I think about, because I remember as a kid watching some stuff, some Italian horror films on VHS, and just really not being impressed with them. And I can remember watching, like, okay, for example, I remember my mother, she rented, we got Ruggero Deodato's slasher movie Body Count. Because she was like, well, he loves Friday the 13th and all that stuff. He's probably gonna love this too. So she, so I got it and I watched it, and it was so, the picture on it was so horrible. It was so black. I'm not even joking. There were instances where it's just a black screen and I can hear what they're saying, but I can't see anything. And so that was a very bad experience. And then I remember watching Mario Bava's Bay of Blood, and I remember just watching a very chopped up, edited version of it. And and that was the thing, like honestly, it's like it wasn't even until later, that I got when people were talking about like Friday the 13th Part 2 took some scene from Bay of Blood, then when I finally got to see the movie in its full context, it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. Because for a long time I was like, why are they ripping on Friday the 13th Part 2? It's a great movie. Now I get it, and stuff. And the thing was, that, it wasn't that I hated Italian films in general, because I remember, as a kid, we would watch, like the Man with No Name trilogy, some of the spaghetti westerns and stuff like that. Those were fine. We had no problems watching those. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie, The Passion. And I remember, this movie. If you ever get a chance, if you never see it, check it out. It's amazing. It's called Super Fuzz, and it's got Terrence Hill. That's not the actor's real name. He's an Italian actor, but Terrence Hill was his stage name, his American stage name, and Ernest Borgnine and Mark Lawrence. And it's about this cop who is a comedy. It's about this cop. He gets caught in a nuclear explosion or an atomic explosion, and he gets superpowers, and so he uses it to fight crime and stuff like this. And the movie is very, very funny. It's got a lot of imagination put into it. His one kryptonite, though, is like when he sees the color red, he loses his powers. So he has to try to avoid the color red when he's fighting crime and stuff like this. But the movie is phenomenal. We watched it all the time as kids growing up. So it wasn't that we hated Italian films. It was just that the whole thing of just like, to be honest with you, I just had no interest in Italian horror films. And Creepers back there was a good example of that, because that was a movie, it's like when I got the 4K, it's like, I have the newly restored version and, the chopped down version. And that was the thing, and I'm going to level with you guys, like, sorry if I'm a little passionate about this, but I can't help it. But I remember like going to, I remember like, just not wanting to watch Italian horror films. They seem boring, and stuff like this. And then during my teenage years, and I know I'm a gross, disgusting pig, and I deserve to be killed for this and all that stuff. But that was the thing. Teenage boy, raging hormones. It is what it is. And then friends of mine were telling me, hey man, start watching some of these Italian movies. It's like, man, you got beautiful, gorgeous women in them. And they don't have a problem with nudity over there in Italy. So I would start looking into some of these movies, and then lo and behold, some of these movies, some of the Argento films and stuff like this, I started watching and noticed, like, wow, you know what? Some of these movies are actually really good. They're actually pretty damn good. And then so what ended up happening is I would go and like get out my back issues of Fangoria and start reading up on some of these films and stuff. And then of course the internet was coming in at the time too, and so you were able to start looking up information on movies and things like this. And I would start to realize, like, wow, man, there's like, you hear about like the video nasties and scandal that happened in the early 80s. And then like, but also too, you find out like a lot of distributors in the U.S., what they would do is they would, get the rights to these Italian films, and they show them no mercy. You know, they would take an Italian film, and they would say, "Here's this 2 hour Italian horror film." And here's the problem, people don't really care about the story or the plot or the characters or none of that nonsense. What they want to do is they just want to get from one gore set piece to the next. So they would sit there, they would chop out, they would take this 2 hour movie and chop it down like 95 minutes. So you just get from one gore scene to the next. It's like, yeah, the movie's gory, but the problem is, it's like it's completely incoherent. You have no idea what the hell's going on. So it's like it didn't make it a particularly great viewing experience. Like, well, yeah, there's gore, but hell, it was the 1980s. Gore was in all kinds of movies, so gore was not hard to get in a movie. So you could have just left the movie as it was, and you didn't have to do that. And then in another instance, so they'd be like, oh yeah, the gore in like Bay of Blood was too explicit, so we have to trim some of that down because some people would be offended by that. It's like, oh my God, even then we had that kind of crap going on, and but it's like now, and so that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't particularly miss the VHS format so much because now I'm sitting here thinking like so many of these movies I could have been enjoying growing up watching them if they'd been left in their full, complete version and in the context and the vision that the filmmaker meant for these movies to be seen. It's like I think I would have enjoyed these movies and I would have had, I have a love and appreciation for Italian horror cinema now, much more than I did as a kid. But as a kid, it's just like, I just didn't have it, and I just kind of like, But now that's the thing, and this here just, and also too, just going back to what I was saying earlier in the video, is like the fact that you could, you could watch this with the English dub or you can watch it in the Italian language with the subtitles. I love when they give you that option because that was like another thing too that was kind of a turn off to Italian horror film, and not just Italian horror films, but French, German, other kind of horror films back in the day. Like when you had these movies with these absolutely atrocious dubs and everything else, and it's like, oh God, and it sounded so unnatural that it took you out of the movie and stuff like that. So I love that they're trying to fix these things, and now it's like. And the thing is, it's like, wow, this is a movie I remember watching it. It never really looked that good on VHS and stuff back in the day. Even DVD is kind of meh. But it's like now that's another thing too. And it's like it sparks me to want to get these on, not just this, but like the work that Blue Underground did on some of Fulci's movies, like, Zombie. Zombie look, it's like you wouldn't think that Zombie would look that good on 4K, but it honestly, truly does. And then, like House by the Cemetery and New York Ripper, things like that. House by the Cemetery, okay, that's one that I remember, like it looked like garbage on VHS back in the days. And, I'd seen some versions too that had absolutely horrible dubs on them. And they were trimmed, a lot of the gore scenes and stuff were trimmed out and everything else. And then when I saw the beautiful, Blu-ray that Blue Underground put out, and then when they put it out on 4K, it still looked even better. And and that was a movie like in VHS, it looked like crap, even DVD, because most of the time what they would do is just rip a VHS version of it, slap it on a DVD, and there you go, and put it in a 50 movie pack and stuff like that. And it's amazing. Like it's such a night and day difference when you see how good these movies can look on 4K. As a matter of fact, I just took my 4K for House by the Cemetery, and I sold it because I want to pre-order the Arrow version that's coming out next month, and get the beautiful big box in there. I'm sure that the restoration is going to be the same as the Blue Underground, but still get it for the nice packaging and stuff like that. I can't wait to get that. But that's the thing though, is like in this movie, it's like it spurs me on to want to collect Italian horror films on 4K. And it's like I've gotten a number of them now. I got a number of Argentos. I got some Lucio Fulci, and stuff like that. It's like go back, like take like freaking take Body Count, Diodato's movie that I was just talking about. Take that, give that a 4K remaster and stuff like that. Honestly, I'd probably buy that so I could see the movie and finally be able to actually see it this time and stuff like that. See what's actually going on in the film. But yeah. you know, and just the work that they're doing now with Italian films, and not just Italian, French films, things like that. I mean, you guys know I love Indicator, what they're doing with Italian, or not, well, some Italian, but you know, like French horror films and stuff like that. Just like, and just like you know, seeing this, I can't go back to the old days. I just can't. And I love this, man. You know, and I can't wait to see what else is coming. But I've been rambling on. It's over 20 minutes now. But yeah, see the Living Dead on 4K. Oh my God, I recommend it. And honestly, like just Italian horror films on 4K, I recommend it. They're showing the love for those films. They're putting in the effort, and I can't recommend them enough. So, so yeah, you know, if you want to get into Italian horror films and stuff, I honestly I suggest 4K. But Blu-ray is good too. You know, I mean, I'm not gonna poo-poo on you know the work that they're doing with Italian horror films and giallos and things on Blu-ray. Hell, even some of those, like, oh my God, such a night and day difference from what they looked like back in the day. But so anyway, so that's it. Sorry, I know this was a long rant, but so if any of you took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it, and I appreciate you for doing it. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, could you please leave it a like? And if you haven't already, please go and subscribe to my channel. And that's it, everybody. Take care. Have a good night. I'll see you later.